Hi, Ionica.
Hello.
Welcome to Actors Making It. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, always a pleasure. So obviously we met on Twitter after a little shout out looking for artists that had kind of ignored their naysayers and pushed through to follow their dreams. So I'm really interested, really keen to hear all about the types of things that you kind of pushed past and what you're doing now. So let's go back to once upon a time when you initially decided that you wanted to be an actor. Why did you want to get into this world?
I think everything's kind of all happened by accident, really. But that's always been through my life. Whatever's happened, I've just kind of rolled with it. I never set out as a kid to be an actor.
Okay.
I always wanted to be a gymnast. So then I had I had an injury, and then I realised that I wouldn't be able to ever do it to Olympic level because I'm very much a like all or nothing person. So if you can't do anything, like if I can't do something to the highest thing, then I, yeah, just I'm quite a perfectionist. So if I couldn't do it at Olympic level and make a living from it, basically. So then I went to sixth form college and I was going to do photography. And then I changed on the day because there was a musical theatre course. And I thought, what's the closest thing to gymnastics? Dance, never really danced. I've kind of liked singing, but I've never really sang. So musical theatre, it's diluted all three. So it wouldn't be too heavy dance, it wouldn't be too heavy singing.
Yeah.
And then about five of us that auditioned that year got into drama school. And then I got told that we'd got a place out of 4,000 auditionees that year into a class of 16. So that's when I realised that I've like not to take it for granted. And everyone was like, oh, you never get to drama school. You didn't want it. Like all of that stuff. And you're just like, yeah, okay. And then I did. And I was like, gosh, I've just kind of done everything that everyone said that I wouldn't do. So I'm just going to prove them wrong. And then I went, yeah. And then I had a whale of a time. And yeah, that's getting into the drama school side of things.
Yeah, sure. Why do you think that the people's telling you that, given what you just said about being an all or nothing person, do you think people telling you that you can't do something kind of motivates you more to go towards that?
I think a lot of people are like this when they're quite stubborn in when someone says you can't do something. It's like, oh, don't touch the hot plate. Oh, there you go, I'm just touching it. It's that kind of I don't know. I think I was always okay at stuff.
Mhm.
I was never the best at stuff, but I was never the worst. And I've always been a massive perfectionist. So if I want to do something, I'll make sure that I absolutely do it until I do it.
Yeah.
And that would go for anything. Like I really wanted to run the 300 meters in under a minute. So I did it and I trained until I could get it down to 59 seconds or something. So
Really?
I've always had that kind of mentality.
Wow, I don't think I have got that quite that much drive to do. I mean, I do personally, if there's something that I want, then I'm going to go after it. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that passionate about certain things that I would like, yeah, I could run 300 meters in under a minute. I could do that. I love it. Would you consider yourself an actor, or are you like a multi-hyphenate?
um, Over the last few years, I definitely branched out. I now definitely have done a lot of presenting, and I never in a million years, it wasn't even a thing that I considered when I was at drama school. I actually did stage combat, so it was never really kind of the conventional, right, I'm going to be an actor that goes into theatre, or I'm going. It was people pushing towards stunts or classical work, or um, so presenting was not even a thing. And I really missed singing, and that's why I left drama school halfway through, because I really wanted to sing. And then I started doing West End auditions, and I didn't know what a pirouette was, and I was kind of like, oh, I can't do anything. I don't know any of the terminology, and always been stuck at the back. So I was like, right, I need to go and get some musical theatre training. And then really that takes its focus, and then you go, right, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to the musical theatre world. And then the stage fright was so bad, I was like, no, I'm just going to stick to screen work because I can't do this because it's it's going to give me heart failure. And then I actually went in as a guest, and then I got an email that night saying, would you consider being a presenter? Would you like to come and audition? So I was like, okay. And that was for the BBC, and I'd never presented before. And then it's kind of rolled on from there.
Wow. Okay. So actor, presenter, theatre person.
Yeah, yeah, actor, singer, presenter. But it's just weird. It's like sometimes you get a lot of presenting work. I guess it's like any freelance, but sometimes I get a lot of presenting work, and then I'll get a bunch of theatre work, and then do a little bit of screen in between. And yeah, don't know really. There's no rhyme or reason.
It's nice that you can have that mix up, because if a lot of people are like, okay, I'm an actor, and that's all their focus, and they're waiting on auditions to come through. And working in a bar or a restaurant or something to kind of pay the bill.
Yeah.
So some people are not as versatile when it comes to what they can or can't do. Is there anything else that you do to kind of pay the bills when those kind of things aren't popping up?
Yeah, I do photography and I do videography for people, and I always loved photography, always from school kind of thing. And I know how to take, well, I don't know how to take, I try to take, but I know what a headshot is supposed to look like. So I was like, why don't I just take photos for people that are in this industry? And then I started taking pictures of dancers at videos at dance conventions, and then kind of like grabbing the moment in that. And I was like, oh, like people want to pay me for these. And I do a lot of waitressing, I do a lot of dance teaching and stuff like that. But I think that one thing that people don't get told at drama school is try and find a sideline business that you actually really love, as opposed to doing stuff that kills your soul. I still do waitressing, and I think that if you're in this line of work, you can't ever be fussy for work. But if you find something that you can make chunks of money from, so it means that you're not going in and working 40 hours a week and getting maybe one audition every 6 months, because that's when you start to lose the love for the acting, because you're like, everything else gets so like, oh, this is hard work, and everything gets very negative. So I love being around performers and creatives and stuff like that. Like I was at the BBC studios today, and I said to one of the presenters, I was like, I'll take your headshots, because I had my camera, the new one I bought. And I was like, oh, I'll just take a picture. And I was like, oh, I do headshots. And he's like, oh, and then that's how it gets going. And then you're around the same kind of like-minded people. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think you've touched on something really important there. I think we get kind of conflicting information. Like, I'm part of Facebook groups, and everybody has an opinion on absolutely everything.
Yeah.
There are some people that are in that train of thought of, if you want to be an actor, then acting is what you need to be focusing on 100% of the time. You shouldn't have a backup when it comes to trying to make it as an actor. But not having a backup, but just trying to make it as an actor doesn't put a roof over your head, doesn't feed your belly, because you still have to make money. So I think you've kind of touched on something really important there around the finding something that you can love to pay the bills outside of acting, because it doesn't happen overnight, no matter what everybody tells us, no matter what the media tells us about an overnight sensation. It very rarely happens overnight, unless you know someone who knows someone, or have a parent that is someone.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, and then there was so much there. You started to say about kind of the negativity of kind of being stuck and not getting auditions and whatnot. Have you experienced that a lot yourself in your career, as you've kind of on your journey to where you are now?
Do you mean, have I had really long periods of time without work?
No, just
That
like,
kind of...
I guess just the negativity. What have you experienced negativity wise within the industry as you've been kind of on your journey? Because I mean, I imagine when you first started out, auditions weren't necessarily rolling in straight away, and you weren't booking every single thing that you did audition for. What's your experience with that mental health journey?
I have found the more work you get, people show their colours very quickly in both regards. Like, some people will absolutely latch onto you. And I remember being told very early on is, people will always try and ride on the coattails, and I was like, no, my friends have been genuine. And then when you lose contact with those friends, and then you end up being on TV, and they go, oh, here's my friend on TV, and I'm like, I haven't spoken to you for 10 years. Like, I would have just have appreciated you just sending me a message, as opposed to like saying, oh, my friend's on TV. I mean, social media is a great thing to give people a shout out as well, but I think that people sometimes forget that a message is enough, and it's actually, it means more. But equally, the more work you get, I've found people will really tear you down, and it's always the people that are closest to you. So it's that's probably the hardest part of it. But you've just got to. I'm a very loyal person in my friendships, but you've got to know when to cut it off and when it becomes where the damage is irreparable.
Yeah.
And when it starts affecting you professionally, I think that's when you have to go, no, that's enough now. And it's really sad. And trying to work through that with that person, and then ending up trying to like battle against them, is equally as hard. So yeah, I've it's not happened that often. It's a very few situations, but they've really hurt.
Yeah. Is there a story you're prepared to tell around that, or?
Just when I go to premieres, actually, I went to the Wrinkle in Time premiere, and I never take for granted that I get to go on the carpets. But I've also done 10 years of networking. It's not, I don't just get invited to these things. It's relentless networking. And people think networking is just socializing. It's really not. It's you have to be a businessman or businesswoman. So when you get messages saying, oh, you can take me on your arm if you want, I'm like, I'm good, thanks. Like, I've done all of these other events by myself, and now you find that thing that I'm doing now worthy of your approval, you then want to be a part of it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. It's just, yeah. I actually, when I went to the Wrinkle in Time premiere, I said to my friend, I said, I bet you I get between 10 and 20 messages asking either to come to the next one or on that level. And she was like, no, like, people aren't like that. And I was like, I promise you, within, honestly, about 5 minutes of me posting, being at the event, I got a string of messages, and I just showed her them, and I was like, and this is what it's like all the time. And you learn over the years which messages are genuine and which people are wishing you well just to wish you well. And then, you just sense it. At first I would give, and then you end up getting hurt, and then you go, okay, just a bit of self-protection.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So you mentioned something there, which I think is super important for actors to understand, which is around networking and treating it as a business. Talk to me about what that has meant for you over the last 10 years to get you where you are now. And what being a business means in an acting sense.
I think when you first graduate, you're very hungry for work, and you'll apply for everything and anything and do anything. And I don't really like this phrase, but I think it's very accurate for this, is that you prostitute yourself to the industry, and you'll do anything to sell your soul almost. Some people not, but I mean, the majority of people, like, I was going to cruise auditions. I'm really never going to get a cruise. And then you go to so many auditions that you won't get. And then you're getting more rejection than you probably would do if you just went to the jobs that you were suited for.
Right.
So I think you've got to learn what your market is. The whole typecasting is seen as a good thing, and it's also seen as a negative thing, that people think that you're pigeonholing yourself, but actually, no, it's being smart. It's like saying, okay, I'm a car cleaner, and I don't have a step ladder, so I'll only clean small cars, and that's my ability, and then I'll progress and earn more money. And it's like going into more training. If I'm not a very good ballet dancer, and then I'm going to the Phantom of the Opera auditions, whether it's heavily ballet based, I'm not really going to get it unless I want to dedicate that time to go and be better at ballet. But also know your strengths. Like, I know that I am never going to audition for 42nd Street because I am god awful at tap, and I'm okay with this. So it's just learning that, but I think you learn as you go along what you can and you can't do. And it's funny how other people see you, like your casting, because you think that you're one thing, and then you walk into a room and someone will go, "Oh, you look this age," and you go, "Oh, I thought I looked this age," and "Oh, you'd be brilliant at that part." You're like, "I would never do that." And so you've got to be open as well.
Mhm.
But it's okay to say no to work as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing, is that this whole low pay, no pay in the industry, like with equity and stuff like that, is the whole argument is that so many people will work for free. It means that the circle of working for free will never end, because people
Yeah.
need credits on their CV. And I've done it, and people
Mhm.
will do it always. And it's hard to do. But if everybody put their foot down and said, no, I won't work for free, it would finally stop. But you can't. It's not going to work like that.
Yeah, sure. I like what you said about the typecasting stuff, because
Mm.
so many people, and I know so many people who are like, they just see me as this, and I don't want to be seen. I mean, I've been guilty of it myself. Like, I wear a hairpiece because casting directors just see me as a bloody tradie or a mechanic, and and so I literally like changed my type so that I would get different auditions. But I think I think it's really smart to lean into what your type is, so that you can prove yourself, and then get up on that step ladder and clean a bigger car.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think there's a very fine line of people telling you that you can't do or be something,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing your marketability,
Yeah.
because people always tell you can't do something. And so lucky now that the industry is breaking boundaries all the time with colorblind castings and stuff like that. So it's definitely getting better in that way. It's Yeah, I just think that don't let someone tell you that you can't do something, but also just be smart, like work smart, be smart, like about yourself, like, because you're going to get work. And the thing is, you're playing something that you is not you anyway. So play to getting a typecast. It's brilliant, because then you're getting paid. That's what I think anyway.
Well, I agree with you, 100%, because ultimately, if you're working, you're working. You've got money coming in. People see you. People start to trust you, and then eventually they'll be like, "Hey, this person was really good in this. This isn't exactly their type, but let's get them into read for
Yeah,
it." And then that's when you start to move out of
yeah.
the realms of, I guess, whatever it is that you.
But like you wearing the hairpiece, that's smart as well, because that's just another way of going around. Right, okay, I know that I can look like this with this on, and I don't think that's a bad thing, and I don't think that is wrong either. And I think that's clever, because it's the whole working like smarter, like not harder kind of thing. And it's going, oh yeah, no. It's like when girls dye their hair. I know a lot of people have dyed their hair recently, because the red hair casting is very popular at the minute. So a lot of people are dyeing their hair ginger, and it's another thing. It's just showing versatility as well.
Yeah.
Because actually, when you go into the West End, like Madame Morrible, she's wearing a wig. She doesn't have that hair in real life. So why not?
Yes, you're right. But sometimes you just need to give a little bit of a, I can look like this if
Yeah.
I mean, you can put the right hairpiece on me. I can have hair. Mm. So when you first kind of started out and then started acting, kind of thinking about the business of it all, did you get an agent kind of quite quickly, or did you freelance for a while and prostitute yourself about, as you said before, to get the work?
The first time around when I left drama school, I joined a lot of extras agencies, because I just had no way in of getting an agent at that time, because I hadn't finished training, but also I had no professional credits. And I actually didn't really know what I was doing. And I will say this to anyone, is absolutely do extras work. When you first graduate, I think it's really important, because it takes the focus off you, but you're learning the job as you go, but you're not under the microscope of getting something wrong. like understanding what stepping on a mark is, or like when you're doing presenting on TV, like going to your box and things like that. It's totally foreign language, and how are you supposed to know unless you do it? So then I kind of built up credits like that, and then from extras jobs, I would meet people on job, and then they go, "Do you want to be in my short film?" and like that. And then I started writing to agents again. So I did get an agent then, and then as soon as I left musical theatre, I got an agent pretty much straight away. But I'd already been emailing for about 6 months, because I knew that in that December that we were going to be graduating, and I know that sometimes it can take that long, because you write to them, you've got all the meetings, everybody's doing showcase season, so hit them at the post, get them before. So
when is the showcase season in the UK?
It's usually at the end of our school year, which is July time, I think. And then showcases go from, I think, February, well, usually probably about April, but I know some schools are doing them a little bit earlier now because of COVID, because they're doing online ones and spreading them out a little bit more. But usually from about, I think, about April until graduation in July, June or something.
Okay.
Can't remember now.
I'm just trying to time when I start emailing agents before I move over at the end of the year.
Start in January.
Yes, well,
or when showcase season is over. Yeah, September's a good one, because everyone starts their new term at school. So
yeah, well, I move in October, so that's probably not. I should probably just.
Yeah, you want to get in before everyone starts emailing to get the agents to go to Panto. So October is good.
Oh yeah, but then I'll be there. I want to have an agent before I get there.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes.
So
start now.
Yeah,
today.
I think that's the way forward. Yeah. I forgot to ask at the beginning of the call, like obviously from a making it perspective, when you know that you said that being an actor wasn't kind of on your radar, but when you decided that that's what you wanted to kind of focus on, what was your idea of making it? So when you first started out, what was your, okay, once I've done this, I've made it, that's my goal?
Oh gosh.
Because we know you love a goal. 3 minute.
I do, yeah.
1 minute, 300 meters.
Do you know what? I've never really ever, I don't think I ever had a vision, because I didn't really know what I was walking into. I just wanted to be able to say, because I moved down to London with £40. I had no house, no job or anything, and I stayed on someone's sofa.
Wow.
And I was told that once you get over the phase of being an actor, come back and get a proper job. So my one goal, the only thing that I wanted to do was get one paid professional job. And if that was the only one I ever got, then I'd succeeded. And that was it. It was very short-sighted, but that was my goal at that time. But I only had £40, so I thought, you know what, go hard or go home. And then I did, and I sat for 3 weeks. And we have a thing called the contacts book, which I don't know if it still exists. I think it will do, with every single agent in the UK. And I sat for 3 weeks and I wrote to every single one of them. And I think I got about 5 replies, and all of them were no's. And so I thought, right, okay, I need to go about this a different way. But yeah, that was my thing. I was like, right, I'm going to get one paid job. And then you kind of get the bug for it. Then you're like, why would I only want one job? Why can't I audition for something else?
Sure. And have you, how long did it take you to get that first job?
Gosh, probably about a month from being there, like from 2 weeks staying on the couch. But again, it was through an extras agency. So it was working that way up. But now my definition of success in this industry is, for me, is working with nice people, hardworking people, incredible work, and the top stuff. I want to do ITV dramas. I want to do BBC dramas. I want to do Channel 5. I really want to do the best of the best with the best people. Because you learn so much from these people as well. I've just done a short film, and the two guys in the cast, I mean, it's like a masterclass watching them. You're just like, gosh, this is like liquid gold, and I'm getting to watch it and learn from it right here. Like, it's not, I mean, you learn so much at drama school, but no one could ever teach what they're doing. And just the respect as well. And you learn how to treat each other on set. And one of the guys was saying, you want to go? Because I came in on the third day. He said, do you want to go through lines? Is there anything that you're uncertain of? And like, if you want to run lines, that's fine. And like when we were going back out for the close-ups and stuff like that, he was just like, you want me to come and stand so your eye line, yeah? And I was just like, Josh, you're so generous and you're so lovely. And then watching these guys, I'm just like, like, yeah. So that's my definition of success. And I want to keep working with people like that, with the team that were there and the producers, and because it's just joy. It's just amazing when you get that.
Yeah, no, every time I'm on set, I feel like I've made it. I mean, I did some I did some featured extra work this week, which I mean, it's going to sound so snobby, but I don't mean it in this way. Extra and featured extra stuff is not really stuff that I kind of go for or put myself up for these days. But it was, it was kind of beneficial. It was a ABC TV production. It was working with some really well-known actors, and I was featured in a scene with the lead actor. We make out and like have a kind of encounter and stuff. So I'll be pretty featured in the show, which is
nice,
which is great. But just being on set and being around, I was 11 hours on set, literally 10 and a half hours of sitting around doing absolutely nothing and half an hour of work. And there were guys there that were not in the industry, but they were just extras. And like one guy had decided to do it because his boyfriend was part of it and he needed a couple for the scene. And he was just complaining all day. He's like, oh my God, this is so boring. I'm hungry. You said this would be fun. And I'm like, this is amazing. What are you talking about? Like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously I have my own definition of success and whatnot, but any opportunity that is me feeling at home. So
yeah, no, I feel you. And I would be the same. I would definitely do something like that as well, because I just being around it, isn't it? And just yeah.
Well, I mean, I got feedback from the guy that got me onto the show, from the producer, saying that the producer said that my scene was really great and that I looked great on camera and looked really natural and that the scene was beautiful. So, I mean, to get feedback from the producer like that is brilliant. So, and I think as actors, we need to, as you said before, like, yes, it's important to say no to things, but I think when you're thinking about your career, you have to weigh up at the same time the benefits, the pros and cons, and around decisions that you make in the industry. Whether that be, okay, we'll get you in to do a featured extra spot. You will be having a major scene you'll be having a scene with the lead actor, and it's for this production company and this TV channel. Then you go, okay, maybe doing a featured extra role, even though I consider myself an actor. This is making me sound like such a pompous asshole, and I don't mean it.
No, I do totally get you. And if people that like in the industry, they understand this, because if you're an extra too much on soaps, then you can't audition for like something like 3 years or something ridiculous, because so many people are avid watchers of the show that they'll go, oh, she was a policeman last week, now she's the sister. And so it's, no, I totally get you. And it's you don't sound snobby.
It's all a business, and we just have to like give up.
But also as well, like I went on the radio for a 3-minute chat to talk about an award, and then I got a contract for a year on the BBC because I chose to say yes to go on that show. And it's the same with doing anything like you just said, getting featured. There might be someone in that production, in that show, or the cast members that really like you and go, really like working with that, or continuous stuff. They might go, right, great, because I don't know what you've done, but like if it was a second season, they'll go, that guy looked great in this, like let's get him back and let's get him written in. And so many times that happens in soaps over here, like you hear of people getting a 3-month contract and then they're on it for 10 years. You just don't know.
No.
And it's not that fake illusion of, oh, I might get a job from it. It's like you say, you're doing it because you love it and being around it. But also there is that chance of getting something else from it. And it's like anything. It's like working in a supermarket and always working out on the checkouts and going, oh, do you know what, Linda? I really, really want to be a team manager. Do you know how? And then they have a conversation about that. And it's like in every single industry, it's just how it works, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody take notes.
I don't know if my notes will be any good.
Pardon?
I don't know if my notes will be any
I
use.
think you're giving out some pearls of wisdom personally. So there's
Thank
lots
you.
of really good, there's lots of really good stuff here for actors, because I think, you know, I mean, I've basically just called myself it. Like, we can have, I guess, delusions of grandeur sometimes and be like, I'm not saying yes to that. Like, that's extra work. I don't do extra work. I'm an actor. So I think it's really important to just, as I said before, just weigh up what the pros and cons of it are.
Yeah.
So,
as you know, over the past few years, self-tapes have become the norm, and they are being used by more and more industry professionals to cast all sorts of productions. I've personally recorded self-tapes for theatre and TV and film and commercials, and it makes life easier for casting as they can see more options. But what isn't easy for us actors is finding someone to read for us in the moment that we need them. That's where We Audition comes in. We Audition is an online video chat community where you can call someone that has marked themselves available and they will read for you for your audition. You can use We Audition to rehearse, film, or just ask questions that may help your audition. Last year I had an actor contact me who had never drank alcohol, who just wanted to know how to play drunk. You can sign up to We Audition to be a reader yourself. I log into We Audition most days and I just leave it on, and people call and I accept, and I help them with their auditions. So you can earn a little extra cash doing that, and you can just meet some great people. I even helped one of the main cast of Morning Wars tape an audition towards the end of last year. Look, it's a great platform, and if you're going to sign up to be a reader, it basically pays for itself. So if you want to sign up to be a reader on We Audition, you can get 25% off using the Actors Making It discount code MAKING IT. So just go to www.weaudition.com and use the code MAKINGIT when you sign up.
That's cool that you kind of go in for a 3-minute chat and get given a contract for a year. Talk to me more about your presenting experience and what it is you kind of work on.
Okay, so I went into talking about an award that I've been nominated for, and it was in my local, well, not quite my local area, but the surrounding area. So I live in a small town, and then I went to BBC York, and I just went on for the 3-minute chat to talk about the award, because it was a half public vote, half industry award vote as well. So it's like a panel. So I needed to explain what it was that people were voting for. Anyway, so I then got an email that night saying, we really loved your energy on the show, and we've been looking for a jobbing actor that's from the area. Would you consider coming in to have a chat and possibly audition, kind of thing? So I was like, yeah. I don't know how to present though. And she was like, that's okay. We can't teach energy and we can't teach charisma or whatever, but we can teach you how to present. So I was like, you're gonna have to do a lot of teaching, because I'm not very good at reading. So yeah, I then went in and I did an audition, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then I actually ended up doing a TV show. So I didn't do any training right up until I actually started the live shows. So I was really in the deep end with it all. And then, so I got then booked for the arts and culture show. So I'd do a 3-hour live show every Friday night, and I would have 6 guests each week. And I would have a stone carver or a dancer or a painter, whatever it was. And I got to choose the guests. Sometimes if people pulled out, the producers always help you and stuff like that. It was amazing, and I just got to meet the most talented people, and it was always a massive eclectic mix as well, because I didn't want, it was never about being an actor's show. It wasn't about that. It was about sharing the love of the art and being creative throughout everyone in North Yorkshire. And so, like, I had a guy that was a photographer who had Down syndrome, and he was absolutely phenomenal, and he was getting his work picked up in New York, and you're just like, he's a dude. And then you get someone that was knitting and making 1,000 poppies on a clock, and then you'd get someone that's just won an Oscar, and you're like, this is ace. Like, I am being enriched by all of these talented human beings every single week. Like, how lucky am I?
Yeah. And
so
that's
yeah,
what started that's what kicked off your presenting career, this particular gig.
Yeah, Kind of, yeah. And then I then presented at a dance convention, and I was just a little bit cheeky. I've been going for 12 years to the convention, and I absolutely loved it. And just said, oh, if there's any chance of, if you're ever looking for a presenter, I've just started working at the BBC, blah, blah, blah. So I've got one credit kind of thing of presenting. And they were like, oh, actually, we need someone for this year. Can you join in 2 weeks? So that was a big, massive live event. And then I did Countryfile Live, which was a huge, huge event, which never in a million years. If you told me the year before at the BBC that we're working at Countryfile Live, I'm like, ha, okay, that was insane.
Yeah. I know what that
again,
is,
it's a TV show every week, but then they have 2 big events. So they had it at Blenheim Palace Park, Palace, and then they had one at Castle Howard, and I got booked for Castle Howard. But that was solely off my social media, and I do a lot of talks on social media about the importance of keeping it up to date, keeping it professional. Obviously, I didn't get booked through Twitter, but they looked at my work, because I think they want to see if you're working regularly, who you're working with, where you are, what you're doing, what kind of work you're interested in. So if your Twitter's all theatre, they'll go, oh yeah, she does theatre, kind of thing. And then so the production company then got in touch with someone else, and then it kind of came back to me, and then they offered me the job, and I was like, okay. And I just keep saying yes to presenting, and I don't know why. And I know I just said it's okay to say no to stuff, but these jobs have been really big. And I'm just like, I think someone's going to find out that I'm being a fraud.
If you love it and they're asking, of course you're going to say yes, right? Because not only is it in your pocket, but it's something that, by the sounds of it, nourishes you for multiple different reasons. So it sounds perfect to me. There's a couple of things that I want to kind of touch on from that little bit of conversation. The social media stuff, first of all, because I think it's really interesting. We now live in a day and age where social media is so important and scrutinized. I mean, I remember even before Instagram came about, I back years ago, before I knew that you could make your Facebook profile private, I went for a job interview, and I didn't get the job because they went through my Facebook profile and they're like, you party too much. Like, we're not, no. So talk to me about what, I guess, it means to you as a creative, the social media, and how you've harnessed that, and what your, I guess, opinions are around how you should kind of curate and manage it.
I think that you shouldn't be pressured into feeling that you have to be on social media. I think a lot of people now are coming off it. I think it's taken a bit of a full circle in terms of, there was a point where, well, I don't know if it's still happening, it probably is, where people are going, how many followers have you got in an audition? Like, so now I think in England that you actually have to report it to Equity if a casting director. I might be wrong, that might be a lie, but I've heard that if a casting director asks you how many followers you've got to report them, because really it's got absolutely no bearing on your talent. So it's just, it shouldn't mean anything. But obviously social media is a massively powerful tool, and this is why influencers make so much money, because a brand instantly is getting 1 million hits because they've got 2 million followers. So I understand that it's like that, but I just think people are getting stung for stuff that in the past wouldn't have got stung for, saying things, and people just take it out of context when actually it didn't mean that, or someone's totally misconstrued what they've said, and you can't help how that person's interpreted it. And that's the problem with it. And that's why you've got to be so, like, almost white as white in what you write. That, like, now I'm very careful in terms of making sure that I'm like, right, okay, if I write this, can it be turned around into something else? And it's a horrible way to be, but actually it's just self-preservation and self-protection, that you just go, actually, I'd rather spend 5 more minutes learning, making a sentence on social media, absolute clarity that I'm not going to get any backlash. Not that I would, but just making sure, especially like doing something like Countryfile Live, it's such a massive platform, that I don't want anyone to take anything out of context when it's not needed. And people pulling up stuff, like there's a guy, he's just had all of his stuff pulled up from 2017 and 2015. And just like, people will do it. So just try not to cover your tracks by not creating a problem in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's very unfair. Like you say, like you didn't get a job because you like to party. Everybody parties. Just because it's photographic evidence, why should it stop you getting a job? So in that way, it annoys me, because I just think it's nice to have memories, and if you're having pictures taken and whatever. But I very much use social media solely for work. I don't put pictures up of my family. I never put pictures up of my house, maybe sometimes a little bit, like this is in my room here, but again, I make sure that it's exactly how I want it to be, that I'm letting someone in but not having my privacy invaded, that kind of attitude towards it. So if I'm taking the picture near my house, I'll either blur out the background or make sure that the angle's not quite so recognizable. And like my family don't really want to be in pictures, or like, because I do a lot of stuff about adoption. My mum and dad don't want to be in the photos, and that's fine. That's up to them, because they're private, and my job's public, theirs is not. So it's just kind of working it like that. So,
the other thing that I kind of took away from earlier is you really sound like you put yourself out there. I think what I mean by that is you don't hold yourself back. Like, have you always kind of been that way? Like, I think, I don't know whether it's I think, there are a lot of people that will not do something like you didn't have presenting experience. But you didn't let that stop you. Whereas though a lot of people would be like, I can't do that. I don't have presenting experience, so I'm not gonna whatever, and probably psych themselves out of even going in for the audition that you were invited in to do. Is that kind of how you've always been? Talk to me about that part of it.
Yeah, I think so. There's a friend that describes me, and she says you're like where water can't get, and I'm like, excuse me. And she's just like, I think it's people for me. So like today I went to the BBC studios, and I could have easily gone, oh god, no, I'm too nervous to meet the presenter, and I have just had the best day. I was supposed to go for an hour meeting. I went there at 1 o'clock and I left at 6 p.m. And because we just had the best day, and they were showing me around the studios and talking about future work that we've got. And I was just, sometimes you've just got to jump in feet first and just go, fuck, let's just go for it. And I am a bit like that. Yeah. I think I know my limits though. Like I said, I would not audition for 42nd Street because that would be wasting my time, their time, and the poor buggers that have got to watch me try and get through a time step. But as well, why not? Because the worst thing they're going to say is no.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I've looked at Spotlight today. There's another 1,000 jobs that I could apply for. So yeah, I know. Yeah, I am like that. I just think,
I think it's really important to back yourself, because ultimately everybody's thinking about themselves, and if you don't back yourself, nobody else is going to back yourself. So you've only got, for a lot of time, you've got yourself to kind of rely on. You just talked about your parents a little bit. Have your family always been supportive of the dream and the career choice?
Yeah, they've just kind of let me get on with it. It's not, they've been like that with everything that I did. Like whether I was doing gymnastics at school or playing sport to a high level, they're like, yeah, good. Like they were never pushy, but they would never stop me doing it either. They just kind of just accepted that I was doing it. I think sometimes, like a few years ago, financially, I think when you start getting older, and then they probably the concern of like, oh god, we're gonna have to bail her out because she can't pay her rent this month, or stuff like that, maybe. I think it starts changing that way. But when you're 18, 19, the financial stress of no commitments doesn't have the same bearing as it does when you're in your mid-20s to 30s, whatever. But yeah, they just kind of let me get on with it, and yeah, we were just like, all right. Like when I got a job, I was like, oh, I'm going to Manchester for a month. All right then. Bye then. It's just that. Just get on with it.
Just another thing Ionica is doing. This is another one that she's on to. Love it.
Yeah, like today I was like, oh, I'm just going to Leeds. All right, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to BBC. All right then. Are you coming back yet? Yeah, I'm just on the way back.
So are you back up in Yorkshire at the moment, or are you living in? So I thought you lived in London for some reason.
So I lived in London for 10 years,
Uh-huh.
and then I went back. So that was in between drama schools, and then I went to a musical theatre academy in the Midlands, moved back down to London, I think, for about a year or 2 years. And then I got the contract at BBC York, did that for a year with the intention to then move maybe back to London or Manchester. And then COVID hit, and then I lost my flat in Manchester. So I was like, woo! But I was really lucky to move back home, because it's like stay at home, because otherwise I would have been a lot worse states, I think.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I guess I've been quite fortunate through the whole COVID situation, because I've got a day job, and obviously Australia hasn't been hit as hard, and I don't work in an industry where stuff shut down. So I've been very
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's very lucky. When it comes to training, I mean, obviously you went to drama school. Now that you're, I guess, still grafting for work, do you do a lot of courses or training, or keep the muscle warm acting wise?
Yeah, I think it's really important too. I think sometimes just going to the odd one, especially when you're not working a lot, is really important to keep the fire in the belly, because you can easily get into the downward spiral of earning money and not having the bind of going, oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent this month. Or I think that whoever says they don't need any more learning or teaching is just ridiculous. I don't think you can ever not learn. So, and there's a lot of people that go, I've been to drama school, I'm not having lessons anymore. And you're like, okay. For me, that just shows that they're so settled in themselves that they don't think that they need to learn anything else. And I think that's quite a dangerous place to be as an actor, because I don't think you can't ever not learn, even just by watching people. It's not sitting down in a classroom. You don't necessarily have to do that either, but I can't abide. For me, I hate teaching online. Like, I don't mind doing Zoom chats and stuff like that, but I really struggle when I teach dance. And I don't know how I would have been at drama school had I had to learn on a screen. One, I don't think I would have been able to, like the space. I know that some of my friends were training and doing pas de deux in their box flat in London. How do you learn pas de deux on your own in a box flat in London? It's duet work, and no one's lifting you. In that way, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, no, oh, look, I agree. I remember one of the acting coaches that I've worked with, I signed up to do an in-class session, and then COVID hit, and he's like, look, I'm gonna move everything online. And I'm like, I'll wait until we go back in person. I just can't do it. I just cannot do it online. I mean, I work in corporate environment outside of acting, and I'm still working from home, so I'm on a computer all the time. The last thing I want learning
for sure.
online as well. But oh well. You've you mentioned a couple of times the struggles financially around like, will I pay my rent this week or whatever. Have you experienced a lot of that kind of struggle or sacrifice when it comes to finances, trying to, I guess, make it successfully in your career?
I think you can always do something for free, in terms of, especially when you're in London, it's very easy to go to events. Even if you don't go to the premieres, you can go to the premiere as an audience member and watch the carpet, things like that. And just keeping little things like, again, keeping that fire in your belly, just being around it, surrounded by people, chatting to people. Yeah, for me, it's the pay. It's paying freelancers. I very, very, very rarely rant on social media, because I think it's a very dangerous thing to do. But I have only just been paid from a job that I did on the 14th of October on Monday. And I just think it's just not acceptable. And I wouldn't walk into a Tesco's, which is a supermarket here, and go, just going to have that sandwich. I'll pay you in 14 weeks. Yeah. 17 weeks. Sorry. It just wouldn't happen. It's theft. So why do it to freelancers? So in that time, that's when it becomes hard to budget. But I think anyone going into this industry, you have to have about 5 different jobs to be able to dip in and out of, and you have to be honest with people. Like, I work in an Italian restaurant, and I go, right, if you allow me to be a waitress that's going to say, I'm really sorry that I can't come in tomorrow, and you can still employ me, is that a deal? And then you make that deal with that place that you can work, then good. And there's loads of places like that. I mean, especially in cities, it's easy to do. So as long as you keep that going, again, it's just about being smart and just going, what is not going to kill my soul that much? So if I'm doing 2 different jobs, like I work in a cafe from 8 till 4, then I work at the bar 4:10 till midnight, and I can do a chunk of that for 2 weeks. And then sometimes I'll have a day of teaching, and then that kind of like resets my kind of like, so yeah, again, it's just being smart and just going, I just need to live.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest sacrifice you've made over the years chasing your dream?
People, missing stuff like weddings and christenings.
Okay.
I would never ever miss a funeral, and I don't think I've ever missed. I'll probably have missed a wedding. I know I've definitely missed a few christenings. Sorry, people. But yeah, and it's those times that you don't get back. And the people that are around you that know the industry a little bit, or don't know it that much, but understand you and know that sometimes there's just opportunities that you can't miss. Mm-hmm. Like, I would never, ever, I don't know what I would have done if I'd had to turn Country File down, because one, the pay was very good, but also what an incredible job and what an opportunity. And I was so grateful to get it. But that might be only 4 days in that month that keeps you financially okay for that month as well. And you might not work at all for the rest of the month. So hopefully you've got the right people around you to understand that side of it as well, because that might be it. And you go, great, I haven't got anything else this month. So if it falls on a wedding, I mean, now, luckily, I send my agent, I think if you've got a good enough working relationship with your agent at the beginning of the year, usually something like a wedding, pretty far in advance. So you just go, do not put me for work on this day, please. I mean, obviously stuff comes up, but people can always work around it. Not live events so much like Country File, but other stuff like radio, you can pre-record. And
yeah, sure. Amazing. All right. What's one piece of advice you would give any actor that was trying to make it?
Be a nice human being.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing that on my top, and I didn't realize.
I was going to say, as your shirt says.
So I'm such a loser. I have got it. Be a nice human being. I actually got gifted this because I say be a nice human being all the time. Oh, this one says be a nice human. And it's so true, because people buy people. And when I was at drama school, someone told me that talent, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I was like, no, the talented people are always going to work. And she was like, no, the hardworking people will always work. And I was like, no, like, this girl in my class, she's really good, and I'm not as good as her, and I'm never going to get work because she's going to be in the room and blah, blah. And actually, hardworking, nice people are the people that you see again and again and again. And why not be a nice human being? We've had, well, especially this last 2 years, it's been horseshit. Like, we all need a bit of kindness. and I hate when it's just a slogan. I wish people would do what they preach on social media and saying, be kind and all of this. Just do it. Just be kind. Just be nice. That's what I would say. Just be a nice human being.
Yeah, great.
And turn up on time, if not early. That's what I would say.
Well, if you're on time, you're late, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Amazing. Ionica, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Good luck on your journey to making it. Although it sounds like you've already made it. You're already successful. You booked your first job. You're working consistently. Sounds great.
Hopefully, keep it going. And you'll have to tell me when you're in London, and then we can get 100%. Wine. I mean coffee. I absolutely mean wine.
Let me just check my app. I've got, according to my my countdown timer, as we're recording today on, what's the date? Well, for me, the 12th of February. I have 7 months and 28 days, 13 hours till my flight. Cannot wait.
So exciting. And how long are you coming for? Are you going to live here forever?
I'm moving, so that's it.
Forever?
Well, I mean, I might end up in Hollywood one day. Who knows?
Yeah, and then I'd be like, see ya, it's too good for England now.
But the goal is to move to London and be there for as long as I can. Actually, I'll be in Manchester at first for a couple of months.
Ooh,
London, which I think is probably a bit closer to you.
it is.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Go down to my old haunting. What's that phrase? Hunting
Go
ground?
to your old
Hunting
heart. Yeah, stomping
Hunting
ground.
ground. That's it. From my days of my youth living in Manchester for a long time, we can go for some drinks somewhere in Manchester. I don't know what's still open these days, but I was an avid visitor of Canal Street back in the day.
Ah, nice. Is that near where the Curry Mile is? I don't know Manchester that well.
No, Canal Street is it's kind of city. It's like the gay area.
Okay. I know of it. Like, do it. Let's go there. It's a date. I'm holding you
Amazing.
to this.
Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you soon.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.